Hi, it's Phil Simon, and I'd like to announce the launch of my latest Notion template. It is called the Venture Capital and Investment Tracker. And if you work for yourself or for a company and you want to track your investments, I think that this Notion template would really help. And at a high level, it consists of 4 interrelated databases, and I'm going to explain them each during this video. One for portfolio companies, one for investment rounds, one for investors, and then finally one for investments. So at a high level, let's say that I work for a VC firm and I want to represent a company and they're trying to raise money, right? So I'm going to put in here a couple of entries. I've already done that. Say Pied Piper from the show Silicon Valley on Max. And this is just some basic information about the company, number of employees, founder, basic stuff here. Don't worry about these calculations. I'll explain them in a little while. And you can easily add just like you would with any Notion template. I've set up here new portfolio company. You can go nuts with this, but it's pretty straightforward. Things like simple funding summary and total raised by company will make sense when I come full circle and get to all of the databases. Next up, you've got a company and it wants to raise money. Typically, companies will do this in rounds at different valuations. So let's say that for round 1, Nakatomi Industries wants to raise $500,000. Right? Seems reasonable enough. So I've put here round raise goal, and we see here that we've actually closed a couple of investments in this round, but I'll cover that in a bit. So again, we've got information here on each round. And again, a company could choose multiple rounds. So Pied Piper has a round 1 and a round 2 here. Now, I will note this when I set up the round ID here of PP1 or PP2, I'd like you to respect that, because if you keep that convention, then round here will populate automatically. It just pulls the last number from this record. You can call them whatever you want, but it won't make any sense if you just call this first round. Using this convention really will help. So again, this will make more sense here with these graphs when I explain in a little while that there are investors behind these. Again, this is all nicely, I think, stitched together. So before we can get to the actual investments, we need to put in our investors. In the same way that in O1 here we've got our portfolio companies, here we've got our list of investors, and they can be individuals like Russ Hanneman, another character from that show, or they can be groups. Vandelay Industries is just a Seinfeld reference, not that it matters, or Bream Hall is from Silicon Valley. So again, I can open this up here and see that this is the basic information about each investor. So I've got my portfolio companies, I've got my investment rounds, and I've gotten our investors. The final step here is to tie them all together with investments. So here, I've got investment number 1 for Nakatomi's. The proposed investment amount is $100,000. And as it turns out, they're actually able to raise this from Berkshire Hathaway. Now, this is set up as a closed status here, and that's important because you might have a bunch of different term sheets out to a bunch of different people. And to that end, if it isn't closed, I'm not going to count that in money raised. And this gets back to what I said at the beginning. If I look at a simple funding summary here of total to be raised and total raised, I don't want to count contracts that haven't been signed or money that hasn't been remitted. So if I go back here to 04, I can see here how I've got investment status closed or in progress. If it's in progress, then it is not being included in all these calculations. If I were to change that to closed because we received the check and got the contract signed, you could absolutely see those numbers change just like that. So that's why here you'll see PIA for proposed investment amount. Let me make that a bit bigger for you. And then I've got CIA here for confirmed investment amount. Now, one thing here that I thought might be useful, if I've got here a database for investments, I open this up, I can put in whatever notes I want here. You also may want, if I go back to O2 for investment rounds and open up information here, again, to put any kind of notes that you want or documents, anything along those lines. I've also taken advantage of the latest Notion functionality around custom views. So without even leaving this particular investment round here, I can see the related portfolio companies, which again should totally sync here. You can set up notifications if you like, just like with any Notion database, but you'll see here that once you're tracking this information, you can go nuts with all sorts of different graphs and charts and alerts. But it's very simple here to see just a simple funding summary. If you want to see the total raised by the company, if I wanted to restrict that to say certain rounds, I could easily put in a filter here by a round number. And if I wanted that to be just a one individual one here, or even the really anything else, the world is your oyster. So you've got a lot of customizability with this feature, and hopefully you'll check it out. Thanks.